Thank you for tuning in. This is News Report TV. Today is going to debut Fox Nation's Anatomy of a Hoax, and it's basically about the incident that occurred back in 2016 where Jussie Smollett was attacked, and it was later found that this may not have been the case, allegedly. And I say allegedly because right now, Jussie Smollett is free. He is appealing the charges. And also, he initially was found guilty and was sentenced to, I think, about up to 2 months, because it was like 100 and something days in prison. And I believe he went ahead and appealed it. I'm not sure how that works. If he was maybe the sentencing is held off. I'm not sure, but I know he's free now. I don't know if it's because of the appeal, but he's free now. So what I really kind of want to focus on is not really whether or not Jussie Smollett is lying or not, but more so, why is Fox Nation, why did Fox Nation now do this and like an entire series on him, right? To kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of been dragging on. It's been over 5 years, and this small, if it is a lie, this this little incident turns into something major. And I mean, no, it's not really, I don't want to say small as in it's okay to lie to authorities, but I guess he may not have looked at it as a big thing. um and so maybe he did not expect for it to become this big. I believe a lot of attention was drawn to this because of the time that we were in with, Trump being in office, a lot of the things that Jussie alleged that the attackers said, as well as he also highlighted that they referred to him, as the F word, which is a slur if you are LGBTQ. So he kind of, I don't know, Jussie kind of was the one who kind of started doing interviews. He also said that it appears that he was saying that they knew who he was, you know, um, in regards to some of the things that he said they said to him. So, my whole thing is when this first happened, I really didn't pay too much attention to it. Especially, there was a video clip that popped up. I think it was on Facebook or YouTube, whatever. And I saw a clip of Jussie saying, "I'm the GAY Tupac," right? And I was just kind of like, what? And it was not something that I expected from Jussie. I don't even watch Empire, but I knew who he was. I thought he was a respectable young man, and also I don't know, I would just look at him like, someone that is accomplished and so on. I believe his sister, I don't know if his sister is older than him or younger than him, but I do recognize his sister as a known actress. She's been in a few films. So I kind of didn't really have any negative thought about Jussie. I still really don't. And the only plausible reason for any of this, if it was a lie, is something that I heard Dion Cole say. And Dion Cole said maybe he had and this is a video I saw on Vlad TV, by the way. And Dion Cole said maybe, well, not maybe, Jussie Smollett, I don't know if he still is, but he was in a relationship at that time. And maybe he cheated on his partner, and he had like visible, something visible, maybe a hickey or some sort that he needed to cover up. And the only way to cover this, this act up is by, saying that he was beat up, right? Because a beating will cause scars and things like that. So, I mean, that was the only plausible reason, because other than that, I didn't see why he needed to do that in order to be bigger on Empire, in order to gain more money, or not, it just didn't make sense, right? So, for me, I really never laughed at at this incident, and I never really paid it too much mind because it did not make any sense. I did not laugh until Dave Chappelle's special came out, and he had that small reference to it, and that was that. And then I also, this topic recently came back up because Fox Nation is basically, created this series. And I always wondered to myself, why did the brothers snitch on Jussie if that was the case? So I'm listening to a video, and they're talking about how he gave them $100 to buy a ski mask, a red hat, and other supplies to be used in the attack, states Lanier, which is one of the brothers. Smollett also stated that he wanted the brothers to catch the attention by calling him an Empire F, which is a slur for if you are gay, an Empire N, which is a slur or an insult towards an African American person, Lanier said. Smollett further detailed he wanted Abel to attack him, but not hurt him too badly and give him a chance to appear to fight back. When I was listening to those details, that was the only other time that I just kind of like had thought about it, and I just really laughed because I'm like, just imagine, you see his face, they're very serious. So it's just like, I've never really thought this was a joke up until those two instances. I did not really have like a real instance where I just thought this was so funny. But I mean, it came to a point where I just feel like it's sad because this thing is just dragging out, and you see Jussie in court, and he's like, I'm not lying, if I did this, I would be sticking my fist up to the Black community and and I'm just kind of like, bro, like, just move on. Just move on, you know? So, I really kind of wondered, why did the brothers, tell on him? And it turns out that the brothers were actually caught. So I did not know that. I did not know that the brothers were basically found out, and they were on a trip back from Nigeria, and authorities met them at the airport. So inside of oh, I'm sorry. I thought that the docu-series was released today. Actually, it says it was released on March 13th. Okay. So the docu-series has exclusive interviews with both Abimbola and Olambinjo Asundaro, who have never previously spoken to the media about the part they played in the elaborate plot to stage a hate crime on Smollett 4 years ago. Anatomy of a Hoax takes a deep dive into a scam that reverberated through the worlds of entertainment, pop culture, and politics, said John Finley, the streaming platform's executive vice president, in a press release. We're excited for viewers to hear the real stories behind this scandal from the Incendiario brothers for the very first time. The Incendiario brothers are expected to share details of the events, including the planning and execution of the staged crime, as well as the aftermath that the saga brought. In January 2019, Smollett claimed to police that he was the victim of a hate crime by two men who shouted, "This is MAGA country," while beating him and putting a noose around his neck. Chicago police later concluded that the attack was staged, and Smollett had hired the Sandaro brothers and paid them $3,500 to fake the crime. The Empire actor was released from jail in March 2022 after an Illinois state appellate court ruled he could go free while his lawyers appeal his conviction for staging a hate crime. After having served only 6 days of his 150-day sentence for 5 counts of felony disorderly conduct, Smollett continues to maintain his innocence, and his deadline to file an appeal is today, March 1st. The docu-series will chronicle the behind-the-scenes maneuvering and drama that turned the star into a pariah and sent shockwaves through Chicago and beyond, leaving a trail of damaged careers and reputations, according to the release. Now, I don't think necessarily that Jussie's career would have been damaged. I don't think necessarily that. I think he could have been able to move on from this. And I think that it's sad that it's dragging on this much. I really don't find this too much funny. I feel like Jussie Smollett is being used in a way. Why does Fox Nation get to make a docuseries about this? I feel like they're trying to make a point, um, and make an example out of Jussie or any African American person, so that when things that are serious or that are real that happen to us, they have this as a reference. And I don't think a docuseries should have been made. Yes, it was unfortunate that Jussie lied to the authorities. If he did, he's still claiming that he did not. But I don't think it should have been made this much of a big deal. And the reason why I believe so is I'm going to turn my attention to this very unfortunate situation. So, according to investigationdiscovery.com, mother fights for justice continues after son's alleged killer goes free. So this is a serious instance. This is something that really happened. Someone really lost their life, right? And unfortunately, the mother of the victim in this case still has not gotten justice for her son. Her son is Pravin Varughese, and his mother believes that he was murdered, and she has spent years building a case to find justice for her only son. Mike McPadden on Investigation Discovery from an Investigation Discovery article writes, in the winter of 2014, a college student, Pravin Varughese, was found dead in Carbondale, Illinois. While his death was ruled an accident, Pravin's mother doesn't believe the official account, and she has spent the last several years searching for justice. George Bethune was originally found guilty of first-degree murder. So this George Bethune was the one who was found guilty for Pravin, who you see here, his murder. George Bethune was found guilty in June 2018, but in September of that year, a judge tossed out the guilty verdict. Bethune was released on bond and is now free. The judge has ordered a new trial for Bethune, reportedly because he decided that the instructions the jury received in the initial hearing were not clear and the jury may have been confused. The judge stated that the indictment could have been drafted with better words. The language in question is the word knowingly in the following passage. Gage Bethune committed the offense of first-degree murder in that he, in committing or attempting to commit a forcible felony with an independent felonious purpose, namely aggravated battery in violation of 720 ILCS 5/12-3.05 A1 battery which caused great bodily harm or permanent disability or disfigurement other than by use of a firearm without lawful justification, knowingly made a physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature, inflicting by defendant's own statement multiple punches to the head and face, rendering the victim dead weight. And to me, I don't think that it should have been tossed out or overturned, because if he eventually passed away from what they say is hypothermia, a logical person or someone who was able-bodied would not lay there unless they could not move. So whatever he did to him rendered him, unable to move and even help himself, even go and call for help or do anything. He just had to lay there because he couldn't move. So I don't know why the judge tossed that out. Lovely Vargas, Pravin's mother, stated, it's very upsetting to everyone that has been following us, but I would say just stay with the process and have faith in the system. Bethune was accused of beating and robbing Varughese after offering to give him a ride on a cold night. After 7 hours of deliberation, a jury convicted Gage Bethune, 23, on one count of first-degree murder in the 2014 death of a 19-year-old Southern Illinois University Pravin Varughese. Bethune was accused of beating and robbing Varughese after offering to give him a ride on a freezing February night, and then ditching the injured student in a wooden area where he subsequently succumbed to hypothermia. Defense lawyers argued that Varughese was drunk and belligerent, and that after instigating a fight with Bethune, he bolted out of the truck and ran into the woods on his own. Prosecutors contended that one of Bethune's punches to Varughese' head caused great bodily harm, and thereby set in motion the direct and foreseeable consequence of the student's death. The jury convicted Bethune on that count of first-degree murder, but found him not guilty of robbery. Bethune now faces 20 to 60 years in prison. No sentencing date has been named yet. Surveillance footage released in 2017 showed Bethune carrying another person across the street. This week sees the beginning of the first-degree murder trial of Gage Bethune for the death of Pravin Varughese. While authorities had determined that Varughese had expired naturally from hypothermia, his mother never believed those findings. After arranging for a private autopsy to be conducted by Dr. Ben Margulis, director of the Autopsy Center of Chicago, suspicious injuries were discovered that led to the arrest of Bethune. The Southern Illinoisian credits the renewed interest in the controversial case to this video released by Investigation Discovery in 2017. The video includes never-before-released surveillance footage showing Bethune carrying another person across the street. The family rejected the initial ruling that Pravin died from hypothermia and hired their own expert medical examiner who determined foul play. A grand jury has indicted Gage Bethune, 22, on 2 counts of first-degree murder for the 2014 death of 19-year-old Southern Illinois University student Pravin Varughese. Authorities released Bethune on Friday after the suspect's father posted $1 million bond. Led by Pravin's mother, Lovely Varughese, the dead student's family campaigned nonstop for justice. They rejected the initial ruling that Pravin died from hypothermia and hired their own expert medical examiner who determined foul play. Following Friday's indictment, Lovely Varughese said this is not a victory, but said her family is extremely thankful for all the law enforcement agencies and attorneys who took up her son's case and have moved the case to this stage. The indictment is sealed at present, pending Bethune's trial. Searchers discovered his dead body in a wooded area just 350 yards from where the suspect's vehicle had been parked. The hunt for missing Southern Illinois student Pravin came to a dreaded conclusion on February 18, 2014. That's when researchers led by Varughese's cousins discovered his body in a wooded area not far from the school's campus. Varughese, a 19-year-old sophomore majoring in criminal justice, had disappeared 5 days earlier, immediately following a fight inside the pickup truck of Gage Bethune, another 19-year-old SIU student. According to Bethune, he saw Varughese walking outside at about 11:30 p.m. and offered him a ride back to school. Bethune told police that Varughese was drunk and belligerent, prompting the driver to pull over. He said a scuffle erupted between the young men. Spotting the parked truck, Illinois State Trooper Chris Martin stopped to check it out. Bethune claims that before Martin reached them, Varughese slipped out of the vehicle and ran south into the woods. At first, Bethune told Martin a quote-unquote black male had attempted to rob him and then took off on foot. And that's the reason why I'm including this story, which occurred also in Chicago, in this video. George Bethune, a white male, lied to authorities. He told them that, quote unquote, a black male tried to rob him and later ran. So, I lost where I was. Okay, here we go. He took off on foot. Later, Bethune said he'd been drinking and concocted the story to avoid a sobriety test. The patrolman shined his light into the surrounded area but saw no one and drove off. Pravin Varughese was never seen alive again. At that point, Varughese's life could have been saved. I don't hear Chicago highlighting this story. I don't see Fox Nation creating an anatomy of a lie that George Bethune made, a white male, which basically covered up acts that he did that probably sealed the fate of this young man. His life probably could have been saved if he had not told that lie. Authorities allowed him to get away with that lie, and he has continued to dodge taking accountability for what he did to this family. And so why are we creating an anatomy of a hoax? Why are we doing that? Is it because Jussie Smollet is black? Is that why? Are we making an example out of him? Because both of these cases happen in the same place. And this is very unfortunate, and I hope Pravin's family gets justice for what was done to him. I want to say rest in peace, and my heart goes out to especially his mom, who has been fighting the fight, and the support that she has from her family, obviously her husband and her other family members. But this is very unfortunate, and thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.